wow, there's actually an engine in my car. That's pretty neat. Okay, besides all the jokes. So, this video is gonna be about what happened, why I've been absent for quite some time. And yeah, it's because of this car. This car blew up an engine. I know, very, never saw it coming. Like, genuinely, I never saw that coming. I honestly thought I would have that motor, my original motor, for 200k miles, but it wasn't its own fault. It was my spark plug. The ground electrode on the spark plug snapped, and that caused cylinder 2 to grenade. And yeah, I tore it down. I'll put some pictures on the screen now. If I don't think I took pictures of it, me tearing it down, because I was so upset that that spark plug snapped, but it did. It was on cylinder 2. It was while I was one of my buddies with another Mark 7, and it happened while I was going at a certain speed, at about 5,000 RPMs. The engine light started flashing, EPC light started flashing, so I pulled over to the side as fast as I can, turned the car on and off. After I turned the car on and off, it was completely fine, like nothing happened, which your engine light and your EPC light on this car shouldn't just flash and being nothing wrong, you know. I knew there was something wrong, but at the time I was like, okay, probably just some electrical rattled off or something. So I drove it for the rest of the night, just being careful with it. And the next day, I started looking around for anything that could have caused it. I took the coils out, the plugs. It was good until I got to cylinder 2 spark plug, and I saw the electrode is not there anymore. So I was like, okay, that's weird. Where did it go? It's somewhere on my old motor. This is the new motor now, so as you can tell. Good thing it didn't go through the entire motor and into the turbo, because my turbo is still good. I checked that one out. But yeah, I'll insert the clip of the car. After I did the plugs, I drove it around just to test that everything was good. Everything was good about a good 15 minutes, and then I kind of drove up this hill because it was my way home. I had to stop because it's a stoplight, and I tried to go, and I started hearing a noise. And yeah, then everything just kind of went down from there. That's when I started, the next day, that's when I started tearing the whole motor down. I tore the valve cover off, hoping that the piece of spark plug that snapped off was just chilling in the valve train, and I could just use pliers to get it off, but no luck from there. After that, I didn't take the whole cylinder off the car because at the time I just didn't have the luxury of time. Whether I just needed to get the car running as fast as I can, so I didn't take the whole cylinder off. And to me, in my opinion, before I even bought this car, I always wanted to change the motor to a lower mileage one, so I'd be more comfortable throwing mods at it. After I took out the valve cover, I bore scoped into the cylinder and didn't see the piece of spark plug there, and took the turbo out. Basically just took the whole drivetrain out of the car, because I know I had to tear down my stock motor to basically a million pieces, because I thought it would be in the valve train, but it wasn't. So the next option was just taking the cylinder head off and then just replacing that. But that one, brand new, I think it was like $3,000. So, and this motor costs $5,700. So this motor is about 100,000 miles less than my stock one. So I knew it was a no-brainer that I was just gonna replace the motor instead of just replacing the cylinder head. And yeah, so that's what I did. Here's my somewhat brand new on its second motor 66,000 mile GTI in a 165,000 mile chassis. Some diesel guy thinks he's fast over there on the road, but yeah. And as you can tell, my glorious front grill is missing, and I have the reason for that. So while the car initially started, just to get the coolant and the oil through the system, I closed the hood thinking I would drive it, and right as about when I sat in the car, my coolant light started to go off. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just low in coolant, which is normal because it was the first startup for like a month without any fluids in the system. So okay, let me pop the hood. I start pulling the little lever on the driver's footwell to open the hood, and my hood didn't pop. I was like, okay, that's weird. So I kept pulling it, tugging it. I didn't break the lever though, so that's good. Yeah, I didn't put back the linkage mechanism because I had to take out the hook over here, the hood latch, apart, because my way of taking the motor out of my car, I had to take the whole front end out, so all the radiator support, intercooler, fan, headlights, bumpers, crash bar had to be off, and the motor comes to the front. I think that would be the easiest way if you ever want to do a engine swap on a Mark 7. I think it's the easiest way. Okay, that's besides the point. I didn't put the hood latch together the right way, at least, and the hood locked me out of accessing the coolant bottle, which is over there. So I couldn't drive the car. The next day, either I had to finagle with the actual latch up here, just to stuck a wrench in there and trying to get these two bolts that's holding the latch, and then getting the hood open like that, but that'll take a long time, or break the grill, which is a lot faster. So that's what I did. Yeah, some GTI owners would say it's intentional for airflow purposes, but no, it's not. It's not. I had to break it to get to my hood. It's fixed now. I can actually open my hood without breaking a $300 brand new grill. So that's great. Okay. The next issue after all that shenanigan was when I initially had this car out of the car, I was transferring some parts, and this whole swapping thing took me 2 days. 2 days to get the old motor out, the new motor into the car and ready to start. And while I was transferring my Autotech upgraded high pressure fuel pump, I put my cam follower the wrong way around. So you can imagine what kind of situations I've dealt with, because the car would start and then die. Like it wasn't having enough fuel, which, yeah, if your high pressure fuel pump on a direct injection engine is not working basically because your cam follower is backwards, obviously you'd get those symptoms. So there you go. Help you out on some guys to install the cam follower backwards. Your intake camshaft will chew it out. Mine was a little bit scored, but it's not to a point where it's not reusable because the car's still running, obviously. But yeah, good thing I had another cam follower in a vacuum booster. It's this thing. I don't know. I always forget what this thing is called. It's like the part where the high pressure fuel pump bolts to. It's that one. Good thing I have that just laying around from my original motor. So that's what I have now. And it's been, I don't know, 250 miles ever since the swap, according to my odometer. And the fun doesn't end there. So after I got my starting in dying condition with no fault codes in the ECM. After I solved that issue, it was the turbo feed line leaking, because all the lines in the back of the motor, all the turbo lines, coolant back there, I replaced all the O-rings, and luckily I saw the turbo feed line leaking when I first initially was ready to bring the car home, because I was just making sure everything is still fine, make sure that, you know, the car doesn't blow up on my way home, you know, stuff like that. Good thing I saw that. So the next day I replaced that and solved that issue, and knock on wood, no leaks. So yeah. So after that happening, I was getting a P2600 code, which is a open circuit for your coolant pump slash water pump thermostat assembly for these cars. So I did that too. So that's brand new, which is just fantastic. And ever since, she's been been running like bulletproof. But yeah, that's where I've been, or that's where the car and I have been for the past month and a half now, because the car broke down about December, around Christmas time. It was like December 26, 27 of the 2022, and we are, what's the date today? It is February 12th. So yeah, it was a very good experience, and honestly, I still consider myself as an amateur for automotive stuff. It was doing the swap by myself it really wasn't bad at all. Like, if I like, in my opinion, if I could do it, anyone can do it. Just make sure you label your engine harness. Like, every single connector, label it, please. It will help you. That's what I did, so I don't have to, you know, forget a connector. Oh yeah, where does this go? Oh, how does this wiring go? Label everything, every single connector, coolant line, everything. So for me, it really wasn't bad. So the whole process took about 2 days and some headaches for the next 4 weeks or so, wondering why your car starts and dies, and not realizing that you installed a cam follower backwards. And yeah, I'll insert the clip of the vacuum booster with the cam follower installed backwards if I have it. I'll install it on the screen. So make sure you don't install those backwards, otherwise your car wouldn't run. Or discard with the cam follower installed backwards, it would run sometimes. Let's wait for this guy. Yeah, sounds very good. Everyone should do that exhaust.
2,000 years later.
Okay. Now that box is out of the parking garage.
Oh my god!
Very good. Very good. I wish my car sounded like that. Alright, we moved inside the car, not all the windows, so you don't have to hear that pile of garbage revving his box downstairs, but yeah. Where were we? Oh yeah, the turbo feed line. So after I fixed that turbo feed line, I just made sure everything else is not leaking. Like all those O-rings that I replaced, like I said, that I mentioned earlier, all those turbo feed lines, oil lines, yeah, just all the lines on the back of the motor. So I did reuse my DQ250 dual clutch transmission. I didn't swap to the manual one, even though my new engine was a manual Mark 7 motor. because it's interchangeable. There's just one bit, I believe it's the, what is that called? The transmission cooler lines. That one doesn't have it because obviously this one's a DSG. There's just that line, and then there's like a little, I don't know if it's a pump, but like it's a little circle thing. I'll put a thing on the screen to make sure, but I don't know what's it called, but it's part of the N82 valve for the transmission. So it's just that's the only difference between the manual Mark 7 GTI and the DSG. So that part, I just took the harness out and then just reused my original harness because my harness is completely fine. If not, you can solder some wires together to make the manual engine harness into a DSG harness. You can do it. It's very interchangeable. It's very hands-on, but it's definitely doable. But I didn't go that route. I just reused my old one. And I don't know. I'm thinking of getting an but in order to get an this car is gonna need to be sold. So I still don't know. I'm still on the fence. I'm just kind of have PhD of that spark plug is just happening. For your information, the spark plug that I was running was a NGK R72 or 7437-9. It's the racing spark plug. It's the $200 for 4 spark plugs that lasted 15k miles. I think it was even less than 15k miles on this car, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So right now I just have some generic ones because I think these generic ones would last better than the racing spark plug that I was using on my original motor. So I will never ever recommend those spark plugs or I would never recommend running on any car, period. So yeah, so right now we're just kind of letting the car like adjust itself. There's no such thing, but I'm just petty with the having the engine get used to the auto modification. So right now I don't even have my upgraded high pressure fuel pump. So right now we're just on pump gas, making 302 to the wheel, which I don't know. I don't really need that fast car with the high pressure fuel pump in E85. So yeah, that's where we're at with the car. That's the major update. So if you made it all through the end of the video, thank you guys so much for watching. And comment down below if you think I should sell the Mark 7 and get into a new platform, or just keep this guy and just double down, like throwing the high pressure fuel pump in, multi-port injection, IS-38. So like, just in case you guys know, just like a quick view, I am on the IS-20, and with the upgraded high pressure fuel pump and about E70, this car is making about I'd say about 370, 380, 390, somewhere around there. And it's quite fast. It's quite fast. So let me know in the comments below if you guys think I should keep it or sell it, get into a new platform. So let me know in the comments below, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.